Hello Internet, so nice to see you. Some people say that less is more. I'm not sure I agree. After all,
how could less be more? It's impossible. More is more.
But there are definitely times when less is better. So here's the challenge for today. I challenge you, take a chord progression and solo on it using only 4 notes per chord. Now, why 4 notes? Because you can take 2, you can take 3, you can take 7, whatever you want, the word is your oyster. I like to do it with 4, but you can do it with any number you want. Let's see a few examples. The first chord progression is gonna be in B minor, and it's gonna be a simple 1-4-5 with a bit of jazziness on top. So, I'm gonna play this, B minor 7, E minor 9, F sharp 7, flat 9, and B minor 7 again. Is that I choose the 4 notes I'm gonna play on every chord. And how do I choose them? I choose them taking some notes of the chord and some flavor notes. For B minor, I'm using those notes. I'm using the 3rd, the D, the root, which is the B, the 7th, which is the A, and the major 6, which is the G sharp. For the E minor 9, I'm picking the minor 3rd, which is G, the 4th, which is A, the 5th, which is B, and the major 6th, which is C sharp. On the F sharp 7 flat 9, I'm playing notes from the F sharp altered scale, and specifically, I'm playing D, which is the sharp 5, A sharp, which is the 3rd, A, which is the sharp 9, and G, which is the flat 9. And finally, when B minor 7 comes again, I'm playing F sharp, B, C sharp, D, which are respectively the 5th, root, 9, and minor 3rd of the chord. Again, you can pick the notes you want. The fun of the exercise is to hear how those notes sound over those chords. And if 4 chords is too much to you, you can just use 2 chords, or even only 1 chord. Anyway, after I pick those notes, I'm repeating them by octaves, which means I'm not just playing them in one position, like this. But I'm moving them down an octave every time. Or up an octave every time. This is a very neat trick that multiplies the effectiveness of anything you do on the guitar. You play a phrase and then you play it again an octave higher or an octave lower. And it pays to sit down and train this idea a bit so that it gets natural to you. Until you can just choose 4 notes and your hand know automatically where to go to play it an octave higher or an octave lower. If you've never done this before, at the beginning it may be a bit hard, but don't worry, just a little bit of practice and you'll be able to do it. Second example, let's take a different chord progression, let's go in G minor, and this time I'm playing a basic blues turnaround in minor. The chords are G minor 7, E minor 7th flat 5, E flat 9, and finally D7 sharp 9. This is a very common blues turnaround, and there is nothing to be scared about the strange name of the chords like E minor 7, flat 5, and all this kind of thing. You can just choose to play the notes in the chord and it will sound great. Here's what I will play. What am I playing here? On G minor 7, I'm playing G, B flat, C and D, which means 1, 3, 4 and 5 of the chord. It's just the beginning of the pentatonic scale. Or if you prefer, in the higher octave. When the E minor 7 flat 5 comes, I choose to play E, D, B flat, A, which means the root, the 7, the flat 5, and the 4th of the chord. So I have 3 notes of the chord, root, 7, and flat 5, E, D, and B flat, so I'm sure it will sound in the chord. And I have 1 flavor note, the A, which is the 4th of the chord. When E flat 9 arrives, I choose to play something similar to what I played on the first chord, G minor 7. So I'm playing this time G, B flat, C, and D flat, which are respectively the 3rd, the 5th, the major 6th, and the 7th of E flat 9. Again, I have 3 notes of the chord, G, E flat, and D flat, and the other note, the C, is a flavor note. Finally, when the D7 sharp 9 arrives, I'm taking my notes from the altered scale, but I still try to be as close as possible to what I played on the first chord, just to give unity to everything I'm playing. So in this case, I'm playing D sharp, B flat, C, and D, which are respectively the major 3rd, the sharp 5, the 7, and the root of D7 sharp 9. Of course, these are not the only possible note choice, and of course, it's not even the only possible way to play 4 notes over a chord. I just like the idea of playing those 4 notes and repeating them in octaves. It just sounds great to me. Even if I have only 4 notes, just multiply the effectiveness. So you see, sometimes more is more, even when I'm using less. Now it's your turn. Pick a chord progression. If it's hard for you to use jazz chord, great, use triads. And use only notes in the chord if you want. But the idea is that you are restricted to use only a maximum of 4 notes per chord. And try also to repeat them in octaves like I do. If you have trouble choosing those notes, my first suggestion would be just use notes of the chord and add 1 or 2 flavor notes. But you know, there is also another solution. I have this course called Master of the Modes, where we go through all the scales together and we see how every scale works on every chord. And what I'm doing here, whenever I'm choosing those 4 notes, is to think on what scale works on every chord, what scale I like to hear on every chord, and then I pick 4 notes out of that scale, having an eye, of course, of picking some of the chord notes so that it sounds in the chord. The course Master of the Mode is available on my website, musictheoryforguitar.com, and I really warmly recommend you check it out. It will help you knowing what to play on every chord. And if you like this video, click on that like button. If you like this channel, subscribe to it. Leave me your comments below. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. And until next time, enjoy. Less is more. Less is more. I just don't like this sentence. I just can't say it.